Hello. Hello. Hey.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. It's Meet Pie. So let me hide the banner. I always forget the banner thingy. Okay. So yeah, it's in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, and so yeah, what's up, Lace? Life busy?
Yes, super busy, but well, we're here still. Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
How are
What's
things with
your
you?
life? I am okay. Yeah, of course, like my mood is not very good because of what happened in Hong Kong where I grow up, and things are not nice, I would like to say, but oops, I'm already showing that. Yeah, but yeah, like I'm like also busy with my other stuff. I'm doing more coding recently, which is a good thing, and yeah, I want to like code. It's kind of like calm my nerve when I code, I think. So yeah, so let's go to the presentation, shall we? Like I mean, news.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have PyData Global. So I actually, first of all, what is PyData Global? So as you know, PyData is like a data science conference, which is mainly focused on the the tools that is open source tools that's used in data science and scientific programming. So most of them are non-focused, affiliated or sponsored project. So we have talked obviously about data science, but also for open source as well. So other things that it could be not Python, it could be Julia or
Mm-hmm.
other stuff. So it's quite open. And yeah, so the CFP is now opened. Actually, like we are launching it kind of like it's already soft launch, but of course, like you can start to like go to this page and have a look and maybe have some ideas in mind, like what you want to submit if you are interested. So yeah, the conference itself will be in November. So it's like I believe it's 11th to 14th, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it's a global conference and it's so cool animation. I love it. Oh, 15th, yeah, like 11th to 15th. So yeah, so it's gonna be the first online conference for PyData. And Lace, would you submit to it, or is it too close to PyCon Ireland?
No, I don't think it's too close to Python Island, and I would definitely submit to it. I think it's a great opportunity for because usually PyDatas are all local, so then this big conference, joining everyone together, being global, I think it's a great opportunity. I'm definitely submitting for it.
Yeah. So the CFP guideline is out, so you can have a look. Like I said, it's like we have already soft launched it. So yeah, like just to think about submitting it, that would be really highly appreciated. And so the next one is closer, is JupyterCon. So JupyterCon is coming online now. So actually, like this
Yes.
webpage, I think they have just like redo it because last time I visited, like maybe last week or so, is basically it's not announced. So they just announced their conference outline. So you can see that they also have a sprint that that is highly recommended people to join. And what else you want to add, Lace?
And well, I couldn't actually understand because I was reading and having a look at JupyterCon. And do you think that the most of the talks are going to be all focused on Jupyter notebooks, or do you think that we're going to be able to submit anything else data science related?
Well, JupyterCon, like I think there's already the talk and the tutorial is already having a lined up. So, yeah, I think the proposal is already done. Oh no,
Okay.
it's how to. Oh, that's financial aid. Yeah, so but it's already closed. So, oh no, it's not. Oh, it's
Yeah,
deadline is
yeah,
okay.
because they just
Oh,
launched
really?
it. I thought it
Yeah, because
was.
the old one is already like the deadline has passed. So yeah, so I don't know. Talks and tutorials and posters.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
so
now I think they have relaunched it as an online conference. So yeah, like look at the
Okay.
CFP guideline I talk at JupyterCon. So you can see that there are mainly in Jupyter, but also like other data science application can also talk about it.
Mm,
And
okay.
yeah, I think I would really want to submit, because Jupyter is like something that I use like a lot, especially when I do my data science tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
no, absolutely. And so the proposals, I had a look here. The proposals close on the 20th of July. So we still
right.
have like 3 weeks to submit. And yeah, it would be a great idea. I'm just thinking what exactly I could post with. I mean, there's so many people doing so many cool things with notebooks in general anyway. But yeah.
Yeah, the good thing about Jupyter Notebook is that or Jupyter in general is that it is you can actually, if you really fiddling with it, you can render JavaScript and do a lot of cool stuff with it. Some people turn it into like a presentation tool and things. So it's really cool. So I think just to be creative.
Yeah,
Um,
Binder, isn't it? The one that renders everything into slides presentation.
Uh, no, I think Binder is the one that you can do it
Yeah.
online. Use the Jupyter Notebook online. But there's another tool I've always forgot. It's basically using the same JavaScript open source tool that Slice.com use it. Like I use Slice.com, but I think
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you have a lot of code to show, maybe putting it in a Jupyter Notebook could be great. I've
Okay.
skipped over PyTorch. So you said PyTorch has just joined NumFocus affiliation, right?
Yes.
Why is it this?
So
Do we have to
everyone
announce
know.
something?
I sorry, I just put the GitHub one there. Um, yes. So for everyone that does not know, so the NumFocus is this awesome non-profit that funds projects around the open source community. So if you have something really, really cool that you'd like, that you maybe need funding for it, you should maybe have a look at the NumFocus. They're awesome. They're amazing. They really, really support and try to help with the community. And if you don't have a project and you maybe would like to pitch to your company to maybe sponsor them, that would be a great idea as well, because they're quite cool. I got that news on the newsletter early today, so I'm not sure if there is already
Yeah, they may have not updated it yet, but
yeah.
but it's good news for them because PyTorch is getting more and more popular. So as you know, like TensorFlow and Keras is kind of mainly supported by Google, and so yeah, PyTorch is popular. Like kind of yeah, I think it's like because it started having something like Keras in mind that is like more kind of higher level API that let people use it more easily. So it's kind of get popular very soon, and it's a good tool. It's open source, so that's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is more news. That's
I'm
it.
just like thinking this list is getting bigger and bigger. Like, cause every year, NumFocus they will have. Oh, by the way, those are my friends. They have their face on NumFocus banner forever. So like, they just joined like PyData conference 1 year and then they have their face on a banner forever. So next time go to a PyData conference, beware to like groom yourself and um but anyway, like yeah, this list is getting bigger and bigger, and every year when you go to a conference, then NumFocus, if it's there, like they're a partner or they are sponsoring, then you will see that they will have a booth, and every year we see, like, we look at the banner, the new banner, and like, oh, there are more logo there, like there are like new projects that join, and also new stickers. So it's like everybody is super excited about NumFocus sticker because they have so many projects and you get many stickers from them. So yeah, every year you'll get new collection because they have new projects. But anyway, that's good news for them. Congratulations. So Pygothem, so it's online this year,
Pygoth.
right?
Yes, so Pygothen is a Pi conference that usually happens in New York. They are quite, I mean, they're quite big. I mean, yeah, they're in the US. And then this year they're moving to an online version. So they're calling Pygothen TV instead. And the CFP is very close to the end. So if you have a talk that you'd like maybe to submit anywhere, that maybe Pygothen would be a good call. The CFP, the submission process is quite easy. It only takes like a few minutes. So if you have a talk, it seems like a really good conference to go to, like the online version of it. I'm just loving the fact that everything went online. We can do 20 conferences in a week.
Yeah, it's PyCentric. So what's different between like this and any Python conference? Is it like, because is it like just like kind of like Python New York or something like that? Just like localized, or is it like special theme attached to it?
So I know that they have talks that apparently they're really good for beginners, for like including people in the community. But then the major thing that I saw about them that is quite interesting is their sprints are focused on kids from kids around 10 years of age. And that's what they're famous for. So they are good for helping getting new kids into the tech community as well. And that's quite interesting. Like I can't remember the last time I saw a conference directing sprints for young people, like for kids at around 10 years of age. I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, because like they have some ideas there, and so basically it's like general Python related conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then they talk about everything.
Oh yeah, I really like this continuous integration for documentation. Yes. Yeah. That's good. Like, please consider submitting and ooh, yeah, the two factors authorization. This is quite a updated talk. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so and also neural networks for those AI enthusiasts. You can also talk about something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Good
there's
stuff.
lots of stuff on open source as well, which is awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, even like things that is kind of loosely related to Python can also be applying. I always love talks like that because you're not bound to just technical stuff. You can also like expand your imagination about like how Python could affect lives in other ways. That's interesting. So yeah, okay, and Python Island.
Yes, so we finally got there. So Python Island is going on a rent this next week. We have 2 events in a row, pretty much one after another. So one day and the other one the next day.
Oh, you have Miro. Oh my God, he is amazing.
Yes. So and he's giving us the talk. He actually sent me a message on Telegram say but with a can of Guinness and the mug saying I'm ready for the meetup. So he's super excited to join us there. And yeah, so if you're around, if you have nothing to do, and if you want to join us, he gave this talk in Python, I think already. But he made a different version exclusive for Python Ireland. And I'm super excited because I'm known in this Python Ireland Slack channel as the person who does not know how to handle time zone differences.
What's so cool about Miro is like he got a very cool lightning talk that basically he's showing off his language skills and everybody's mind is blown. I won't spoil too much because he may give it again sometime in the future, but he is amazing. He's a very cool guy. That's I'm sure.
I'm so excited. Like I'm really, really, really excited to be hosting him. And so then we have a talk just with him and then lightning talks everywhere. So if you do want to submit a lightning talk, we truly appreciate it because usually we have 2 speakers with us every time that we do a meetup. But then for this week, we couldn't actually get another speaker to join us. So we need your help, guys, to keep the meetup going. So yeah, lightning talks, anything 5 or 10 minutes long, anything that you found out this week, anything that would like to share with us. It doesn't necessarily need to have a PowerPoint presentation, any slides, just you. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
I may do that if I'm free that day, if I'm joining. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about that. And also like about lightning talk, the most amazing lightning talk section that I've been actually is in PyCon Namibia. That's like I've talked about it many many times, but I don't know whether I've talked about it here. That it's like lightning talk time, and in PyCon Namibia the first day nobody is like, what's that? They just like sit there. And so like the organizers was like, we are the friends from Europe. We have been to a lot of conference, so we know what is a lightning talk. So we go there and do it. The second day, we just like it's the table change, right? We just sit there, and then the local, attendees, they just like queue up. It's a very long queue, people queuing up to do the lightning talk, and everybody just go there. And like some, there's a guy who's just like, oh, this is my first time coming to this conference. I don't know what it is. Somebody just say, oh, it's the conference. I got a ticket. Come, and then he just tell a story about like how he came to the conference, but like it just like grab a mic and speak. It's almost like a stand-up comedian. And it's like, oh my god, like
That's
I,
amazing. You see,
I
that's an
really
example
love
of
it.
engagement.
Yeah, I really love it. So yeah, please like join the lightning talk if you could. Okay, so
Awesome.
the
Uh,
last news of today is there is a blog about the 9 flaws of pickles. I think it's a very good read. Actually, it's recommended by Victor, a the C Python core developer, in his tweet. And so yeah, like I'm quite surprised that there are actually a lot of things that I never thought about, like, oh, pickle could bring this problem. So like some of them I have heard about that before, but like some of them like, oh, I didn't know that. And it also includes some like security issues that I think it's a good read for people who use pickle quite a lot. Then you should really think about maybe local alternative if you're doing something that you know um, that could be better. So yeah, so here, yeah, so I would, this link again like will be the um in the in the
description.
description. Yeah, kind of like I'm not very good at speaking like right now. Is like I kind of I can't multitask. So okay, so let me see if I can put ourselves the uh in the interview. So who do we have this week?
And so this week we have Waylon Walker. So he has a background on mechanical engineer. He's from the US. And he works now as that data-driven solution enabler. The way I met Waylon and that we actually got to ask him to come into this interview for us was he, as everyone knows, I'm developer advocate for Quantum Black, for the Kedro library, the data science machine learning pipeline framework, and he created a few plugins for Kedro. So he's the creator of Find Kedro and Kedro Static Viz, and he's a great Python coder. So he talks to us a little bit on the interview about the transition from mechanical engineering to data-driven solutions, to a data-driven career. He gives a few advices for people that are trying to learn how to get into data science. Tells us what worked for him, and tells us how is to have a family and work as a data scientist, and then keep a very busy dev.to profile, and just writing about things and talking as well about learning in public. So it was quite a good chat. I hope everyone enjoys it.
Yeah, right. So without further ado, let me share the interview with everybody. So let me do it now.
Meet me Pi, and I have here with me today Waylon Walker. Hello, Waylon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's the middle of the day, and we're going to chat a little bit about Python. Perfect. So, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone that doesn't know you?
Sure. So I'm a data scientist. I work with Python quite a bit. I've been doing it for uh, 5 years or so now. Um, I'm a a lifelong learner. I love to learn things. That's kind of what one thing that pulled me into more of the Python and tech data science direction, away from mechanical engineering, um, as well as an activator. I love not only things, but helping teach other people the things that I learn as well, and enabling them to do new and cool things in Python.
Awesome. So you started as a mechanical engineer and then you became a data scientist?
Yes, so I graduated from Iowa 2012 and did mechanical engineering for a few years, um, and uh, so a couple of things kind of pulled me into the data science direction. One was just I'd always been into code. So even in my days at Iowa State, everyone else liked using more typical just Microsoft Excel and things like that. And as soon as they showed us MATLAB, I was like, I'm done with that. MATLAB for every assignment possible. And I never did anything in Excel again. And then I got out of college, and it was like, I don't have a MATLAB license. Everybody else uses Excel, so I'm kind of, I guess, stuck following everyone else. And I slowly got into this role where I was doing more and more work in data, and I was just running into limits all the time. And someone was like, "Have you looked into this Python thing?" I'm like, "No, I've never even heard of it." And as soon as I checked it out, I'm like, this is what I've been looking for. It's at the time it felt like a free version of MATLAB.
Yeah.
And but
My,
then like you find the whole community and the whole ecosystem is so much bigger than what MATLAB has.
yes. I started, like, I did a little bit of MATLAB as well when I started engineering, but it was not my favorite
Hmm.
language. It was really not my favorite language. Like, gets quite complex, especially when you're talking
Hmm.
about graphics. Like,
Hmm.
we had to do we had to do, I think, I did a module on thermodynamics using MATLAB, I think,
Hmm.
and we were trying to print cross sections. It was
Oh
just,
wow.
oh, yeah, no. Yeah, MATLAB wasn't for me. Python, on the other hand, though.
Yeah.
um, Perfect. So, so you started with Excel, then you jumped into MATLAB, and then you got into Python, and then you fell in love with the community.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, do you want to tell us a little bit more about how involved you are with the community?
Um, yeah. So I do probably the last couple years I've started doing more blogging and just kind of adopting the learn in public type of mentality, and just sharing those things that I learn with others. It also gives me kind of a place to keep my notes. I'm really bad at taking notes and like finding them later. So pretty much if it's not on my website or my blog, it doesn't exist or
Oh,
can't be found. So that's some a resource I use a lot for myself and to share with others. It's like, oh yeah, I've already wrote about this here. Check this out, and then come back with any other questions you have. Um,
and okay, so you talk a lot about, yeah, I've seen you have like a very wide presence online. You blog a lot, and
yeah,
you're always on Twitter, and I love your tweets as well. And
thank
there's
you.
always an opinion, there's always a thing over here, over there. I was like, yeah, this is amazing. Guys, follow him on Twitter and on DevTo, because he's quite awesome. Um, but yeah, so you talk a lot about this mentality of learning in public.
Hmm.
How does that work? Like, how? Why is it so good about it for you?
Um, I think a lot of it is like at first it was like I got to be an expert to be able to teach someone about this, but then you slowly realize like I can't teach the person that's on their first day in Python anymore because I can't relate back to them. I can't remember what it's like to come across these issues, and they seem so foreign after you've done it for a few years to wonder like, how do you, like, I write this script in a text file, how do I even run it? And you just kind of almost forget that those first day issues even exist anymore. It's like this learn in public is kind of gives you that mindset to always be learning and teaching kind of together. So taking notes and writing posts about things that you're learning as you're learning them.
That's amazing. But what about the? I mean, I don't know if anyone is gonna reverberate with the feeling, but I have a little bit of imposter syndrome on me still,
Yeah, yeah,
actually.
that I I struggle with that too. I especially uh I guess part of it for me for a long time was feeling like I don't have a computer science degree. I don't have a data science degree or software degree. I but um I don't, you don't necessarily need that to work in the tech field. And I feel like in some parts of my industry that I'm better off being able to leverage that mechanical engineering degree combined with the tech skills I've learned on my own.
Mm.
Um,
Do you?
but yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that, yeah, the imposter syndrome definitely, like, one thing that I feel is strong when you, especially on Twitter and places like that, you compare yourself to like the sea of Twitter, and you're like, Twitter, like all my followers are an expert at everything possible. But then it's hard to not realize that those aren't one person.
Mm-hmm.
No one person is an expert at everything, and that you're in your head you tend to like combine all these people to feel like the same person, and that somehow there's this person that's an expert at everything that you're interested in.
Yeah.
And in reality that it's more of like the T-shaped model in a way where certain people are experts at
A very specific
one
thing.
thing,
Yeah.
yep, but then know enough about adjacent skills
Yes.
to get the job done.
Yeah, it's disco. Yeah, absolutely. Do you think everyone suffers from it? Like, do you think everyone does this, or that's something that people that maybe don't have a computer
I don't
science degree?
I don't know.
No. Okay.
I don't know if it's like an ego, like people with a better like or a self image of themselves don't struggle with it as much.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know that the community around Python helps a lot with that.
Hmm.
Like they helped me anyway, um, making feel just a little bit safer on going and being able to ask questions and being able to show that I actually don't know even half of the stuff that I should know.
Yeah.
Um, but well, yeah, I really like the learning in public idea. I really do. Uh, so let's go a little bit more into the community talk then. And yeah, tell me, are you contributing to anything in the community apart from
Yes.
writing blog posts?
So I have done Packtoberfest the last couple of years. So I do have a number of repos that I've contributed for as part of that. And I also try to do almost like this Boy Scout rule of like when you see an issue, like raising it up. So I've contributed to some projects that I have no use for. I don't even know what it does, but I was trying to figure out what it does, and I was like completely thrown off by the README. So I submit an issue and say, uh, your README has no examples, but after digging for 10 minutes, I found an example. Here's a copy and paste of your example into your README.
How was the response of the maintainers of the pages?
Uh, so sometimes it's just like, hey, can you make the tweak it so it looks like this? And sometimes it's kind of like, honestly, I don't know that much about your project, so it's kind of hard to see those issues. But Yeah, sure. We'll make it look like what you want it to look like.
We'll fix the README so you can contribute to our repo. Very good. Perfect. So, well, full disclosure now. So I am the developer advocate for Quantum Black, and I actually found out about you because of all your publications on Kedro,
Hmm.
about Kedro on Nefto.
Hmm.
So, would you like to tell us just when you started using the tool and why did you start using it?
Yeah, so I started in around a year ago, about March maybe
Mm,
of 2019, and so honestly, I kind of feel like it's I don't know if you've heard the analogy in front end where at this point in front end the frameworks are so good that if you don't choose to adopt a framework, you end up building your own framework by the end of a more complicated project. Um, so I kind of feel like that's where I was. Like I wasn't using framework, and slowly after a couple of years, I was using Cookie Cutter and slowly kind of adopted it my own to my own template. And I had like a place that I put all my file locations, and then I added like this class that would load in the data, and
okay.
then a way that would run everything. And like there were like these pieces that kind of mirrored what Kedro does, but it was like if you built Kedro in an afternoon, what would it look like? So nothing even close to being as good, but uh you could see like the similarities. So as soon as I saw it, it's like why would I continue using my version when I can use this one that has the backing of all the great contributors there.
I just love the idea that it's kind of like, okay, so you went home, it's like, oh, I need something like this. So I'm going to build my own. And then you went around, it's like, oh, I found something that there is a team behind it, that it is
Yeah,
open source, that I can just use it. I'm going to
yeah,
use this one, but I have my version already. And
yeah.
I did you try to like maybe adapt, take a few features of things here and there to put it on your homemade Kedro or Waylon's Kedro or no?
No, so so we do have, I'm using my own template, but it's essentially like if you did Kedro new, got a template and then just tweaked it a little bit and added like a couple of my own opinions to it, we'll say,
Mhm.
that maybe doesn't belong in the actual framework.
Oh well, we've been adopting a lot of feedback from you, so it's okay. Okay, cool. And do you want to tell us why you decided to? I mean, why you like using it?
So then, yeah, the some of the big things is I think the mental load of working on especially larger projects and trying to like pull that whole thing into your head can be exhausting. And one thing I think Kedro does really well with uh, how you set up the data catalog, and then you set up your pipeline as essentially I write a bunch of functions and I just toss them in a big pile, and it figures out how to run them. And then it has the viz. So at any point, I can open up the viz and say, I need to go into this section of the pipeline. I can see the inputs here. So you could load in a Jupyter notebook or an IPython shell and just load that data set and start tweaking. I don't need to have the whole project in my head. I don't have to think about everything. I just have to think about one transformation at a time and then just throw it into one big pile and it figures it all out.
That's
And
amazing.
so I think
Yeah.
that's the coolest part for me. And it's all in Python. I think some of the other ones that I've seen um, aren't in Python. And it's like you write your code in Python and then hand it over to something else. And I think there was a struggle for me to understand how those work or how to use them, and maybe even like a lack of good uh, hello world example. I think
Hmm.
that's one thing that Kedro has really good is you can install it, do Kedro new, and it asks you, do you want data in your template?
Oh
and
no.
within 5 minutes I can have a pipeline that I can run on my laptop,
With a
and it's a full working example.
that's amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you. You've just done a bit of my job. Thank you very much. I won't starve and die anymore now. Yeah, so I actually like this question. So if you're gonna compare Kedro to an animal, which animal would that be?
um, I never came up with anything good, so um, I chose the beaver because I don't know. I just felt like the almost organized chaos in some sort of way, and you how you're building separate functions, and then you can just toss them into a pile, and Kedro kind of figures out like how this should all be organized for me.
It's an
Uh,
engineer animal. They're adorable, don't worry. Hello. No, she's gone.
yep.
Okay, cool. So an engineer animal. Okay, interesting. Yeah, because of the organization and the structure. Okay. So since we're talking about, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I was trying to think of an animal that like builds something. 'Cause I feel like when you're using Kedro, you're building these pipelines and building something. I don't know.
Maybe ants. Ants are quite organized and they
Mm,
build their ant nests and like
mm,
they're scalable as well. So maybe.
oh,
But then that's my brain. It's not yours, so it doesn't
yeah.
count.
Mhm,
Then yes, so we were talking about imposter syndrome beforehand.
mhm,
So if you had an advice for people that would be, since you said that you suffer with it eventually sometimes as well,
mhm. Yeah.
what would be your advice for people that are suffering with imposter syndrome in
Um,
in
yeah. So
data science?
so you don't have to learn everything. Uh, Especially like in Python, as you look at the ecosystem, I don't need to know Django and Flask and Bottle and Falcon and the 30 new web frameworks that are coming out to be the async version of Flask and Django. Especially like as a data scientist, it's probably good to like keep your finger on the pulse and maybe know one of them, but you don't need to know all 100 or however many web frameworks we have now. Uh, you don't need to know every templating system. You don't need to know every, like pandas is another one. There's almost daily, it feels like you see a new, uh, this is the uh, scalable parallel version of pandas. Look, it's 10 times faster when we do this thing with it. And you don't need to learn every single one of those. And it's always good to like keep your finger on the pulse and keep like, hey, I understand that these things are out there. Maybe you try one out, but you don't need to like deeply understand everything out there. And especially if it doesn't bring value back to the projects you work on. Like if something starts to click and it's like, yeah, this is like my projects really need this, and I get a lot of value and a lot of benefit from using the next pandas or whatever it is that you're evaluating. Jump on board, go all in, and know it very deeply, but you don't need to learn everything. And then with that though, keep uh, definitely like keep learning every day. There's uh, always new stuff to learn. That's one of the things that brought me from mechanical engineering. I felt like when I graduated from university and got in engineering, it was like you sit down and you get ready for a career, and it's like the learning stopped and you just it's time to work. And I feel like there's a lot of room to grow and learn on the side of like managing projects, communicating with people. but I feel like there's so much intellectual property lockdown in that space. So many, like, I can't look at other companies' designs. Even our designs were just so locked down that, like, I couldn't see all the history of it. I couldn't learn deeply about things. Versus in data science and tech, I can watch hundreds of YouTube videos. There's hundreds of free courses that I can just continue learning every day
Yes, yes,
and always getting better.
and yeah, Python is amazing for that as well, because again, a huge community and a lot of content around, and
Mm.
everyone is always willing to help as well. Yeah, I was failing to understand where was the intellectual property blockage, but you're talking about the difference between mechanical engineering and that data science, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, we sometimes we actually don't appreciate how lucky we are, because everything that we
Mm-hmm.
do, if we work with Python, everything that we
Mm-hmm.
do is open, and we're able to
Mm-hmm.
learn on the go and
Yep.
learn in public. Absolutely. Then let's see. Um, do would you have any advice for people that are starting now? Would you differentiate the advices that you just gave for people that are just
Mm.
starting now? Would you have anything else to add? If there is someone that is watching us that is just graduated from mechanical engineering and it's thinking maybe data is the best way to
Yeah.
go, what would you say?
Um. So one thing that keeps coming up recently with, like, my mentoring of people that I work with is try to break large problems down into bite-sized pieces. That's kind of what we talked about with Kdro, and one of the benefits I feel like it has. But don't try to boil the ocean all at once. Try to, break your, almost like writing an outline before you start writing your report. Break
Mm.
it into small pieces and then tackle 5 pieces instead of one.
Divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Now, you are a data scientist, you're a blogger, you contribute to open source community, to open source projects, you do this and you do that, and you're also a dad.
Yep.
How do you manage all this? Like,
I don't know.
what's your secret?
I don't know. I just love to do this. This is like a lot of what, so doing blogging and contributing to open source is almost just like free time
Okay.
uh, type of stuff. I feel like some of my hobbies, maybe before being a dad, just doesn't fit as well. Where, like, I can sit down during nap time for half an hour and add to my blog,
Okay.
but I can't as easily take the afternoon and leave to go do other things.
Yeah, it gets harder. And how many kids do you have?
So I have two.
Two.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of fun. A
Hmm.
lot of fun. Perfect. So let me see. Just to finish? I have one last question for you.
Right.
What's your favorite Python library? You
Oh,
don't need to say Kedro because we've been through that already. Just
yeah.
another one that you
Um,
think it's really cool.
I don't know. I recently found this one called Interrogate. That's maybe
Ooh.
one that people haven't heard of. Um, it's super simple. It just checks if you have docstrings in all your functions. So it's uh, like a lint checker, but it just checks, is there a docstring, and you set a limit. So by default, it will fail if you have less than 80% coverage of docstrings.
I love it
And then
already. It's a
but you can configure it to say I want 100%, or kind of going back to Boy Scout rule, we have some projects that have less than 80, so we've just set it to the level that it's at now, and I'm like, going forward, You have to docstring your new functions or add to old functions. You can't go any worse than where you're at today. And it's not complicated. Like there's PyDocstring style. I think there. I don't know what it's called, but there's one that it like gets into like your type of grammar that you're using and all sorts of complicatedness. This one's just like, do you have docstrings? Simple enough.
That's
So I like it.
awesome. So it's interrogate.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I will have a look at that. I love that. We're talking about pre-commit one of these days. That
Oh yeah. I just started using pre-commit. That's so amazing.
it's amazing. Yeah, so we fell in love with it. Just like
Yeah.
for working in teams is the best thing in the universe.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I was just setting up like a bunch of CI for our team. And then I'm like, but if you want to check that CI is going to pass, you have to run these 8 different things. And then realized, oh, there you can just pre-commit install and then it just automatically does all of this. It's amazing. And it has things that I hadn't came across before, like the line endings and file endings and disallowing submodules. I've actually ran into a case where uh, we had a guy that finished a number of projects, and I was like, okay, we need to get those in our Git repo so that so other people can see them. They're safely stored away. Inadvertently, he layered up submodules, and he was like at the outer layer, and he did a Git reset, and it blew away all of his projects, not just one, every project. So that one to me, I saw that one. I'm like, this one's good because pretty much when you end up in submodule territory, it's usually a mistake unless you really know what you're doing.
Yeah, I stay away from them. I'm like, no, so but no, not enough experience to play in that field yet. No. Better be safe than sorry. No. Yeah, so I also see, yeah, I said that was the last question, but I also see this is the one to finish then. I also saw that you have a few newsletter articles, right?
Oh, yep. So I've started writing in a newsletter and trying to just build up my community. Um, so some are like the more inspirational kind of tweets that you've seen. I'm trying to convert those into like a full-size post. Still kind of learning like how to manage all of that and learn what works best there. There's a few folks that I've signed up to their newsletter, and it worked out pretty. It had some content that I liked, and I thought it was time to start doing that and building that audience.
Produce your own, yeah, because that's one of the things that you keep saying. It's stop consuming content, starts producing content.
Yeah. Yep.
The world is ready to listen to what you have to say, so just
Yep.
start saying it. I read that on a morning tweet, guys. I swear, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how before you start like publishing content, you're like, everybody said everything. I don't have anything new to add, but you have your own way of saying things, and there's likely someone out there that wants to hear it your way. And like I said before, with the learning as you go and how it's hard to speak to people who are new, everybody has their own way of reading things. And if you come across to React blog and it's like, I don't get this, you go to the next one. There's hundreds of blogs about React. So you don't even waste your time with somebody who's not speaking your language.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this age content has to be a little bit more directed to people because it doesn't work. Not everyone speaks the same language. Absolutely. Now, just as the end, so now the questions are over. Okay. Thank you very much. So I just want to let everyone know that Waylon is on Dev2. Waylon is also on Twitter. Waylon is on LinkedIn. He's also on Facebook. Are you on Facebook?
I haven't touched my Facebook in at least 8 years.
So no Facebook, and no one's
Nope.
on Facebook anymore anyway. So, but there's also a button. So if you consume Willow's posts from Devto, or if you follow him everywhere around, there's a buy me a coffee button right on your GitHub
Mm,
page.
I don't have it yet. Oh, I do have GitHub sponsors I set up.
Perfect.
Yep.
Wonderful.
So I'm
So
trying to figure out what all that looks like too.
because I saw
That's a
you
fun.
did set up the Devto plugin.
Yep, I set that one up too.
How's that working for you?
Um, I feel like there's not a lot of adoption yet, so I really anything that comes from that is pretty amazing because I feel like if such a low population of people have the web monetization plugin, that's pretty cool. I feel like when something goes viral, you can feel it because you can see those transactions trickle in.
Ah. I haven't even like I saw how it looks, and I read Ben's post on it,
Hmm.
but I haven't touched it because I'm still on that phase that you're saying of everything that I want to say, everyone else already went there and said it.
Hmm.
But I'm getting there.
Hmm.
So I'll let you know how the progress goes.
All right.
Well, I guess this is the end of our interview for today then. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a
All
pleasure
right.
to
Thanks
talk
for
to you.
having me. It was fun to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Very glad to hear. And keep up with the good work. I'll keep reading you. Sorry.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, we're back. Such a nice
Hello.
interview. Thank you, Lace. Yeah, because so behind the scene talk, so like Lace was recording the interview kind of very late for our time because Waylon is in the America, is the States.
Yeah,
And so the
Illinois.
time difference make it like very difficult, and like I think Lace did it at 10 p.m. for us or something like that. And she invited me. I was like, I want to go for a jog instead. So I ran away. Yeah, but she did a really good job. That's why I think it's better to leave her to handle it. So yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I learned well with you how to do that kind of stuff. I still remember my first interview with Nico, that I was terrified, absolutely terrified. And you're like, no, it's going to be fine. You're going to do it. It's going to be all right. So, yeah. So, thank you for teaching me then.
Right. So, and what do we have for this week's, the PyPI highlight? So, this is what was it called again? The
Splinter.
Splinter? Yeah.
Yes. So Splinter is an open source tool for testing web applications using Python. So I know you're the tests queen in Python. So I decided to bring another testing library. I was going to talk about the interrogator Waylon was talking on the interview that I started using actually this week, and it's quite interesting. But I had Splinter already prepared. So we're talking about tests again. So basically, the way that Splinter works, it wraps browser drivers, and it allows the person using the library to automate browser actions, such as visiting URLs or doing things with with links. And you can do all that automating it, and then it just gets your web application gets much easier to be tested if you do that. So the way it apparently does it is it creates an abstraction layer on top of like Selenium or whichever other whichever automation tool you're using to test on your web app development, and then you can write those tests as well using an API. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah. So that's good. And so I don't have much this week because I was like playing around with Discord.py, and I think I've actually showed it before, like a few weeks ago, and I'm now building a bot. Try to build a bot to register people in a conference, so people can just like because it's actually like still popular to use other registration tools to have people sign up for conference, even if it's free or not. Then we can have people kind of put the name and the ticket number there, and we can register them. I can't show you the code because first of all the like I'm afraid that I may show you the details of the attendees because it's just like sitting locally in my computer right now. So that's how we check against the registration board. And also like the board have a kind of secrets that I use to communicate the code to communicate with the board itself. So I can't really show you the code, but actually it's the first time I'm like using async in Python. So I think it's a good time for me to learn async as well, because I haven't really like do much async in the past. I don't really understand how it works either. So it's like good to clear those concepts. And because Python is like a programming language that I'm most familiar with, so it's better to learn async in Python rather than in JavaScript, even though it's more popular in JavaScript. But I think I would have a difficulty to like understand JavaScript, also the concept of async, but using something that I'm familiar with to learn a new concept, I think that's better. So
Mm-hmm. And
yeah.
also, well, I tried using async in JavaScript already, and I think it's a bit challenging. So yeah, and Python, well, Python is easier in general to do many things. And we know as well that Flask is getting a async function soon, because David told us that. So yeah, async in Python, all the way. I'm looking forward to see your learnings on that.
Yeah, right. So I think that's it for this week. And thank you again for joining us. And we have no plan for next week yet. We are still figuring things out. And sorry about like me being like not very bubbly today because I'm really tired. I was coding till very late, and also like I'm not having a good mood because of like the situation in Hong Kong right now. So I may rant about it in my tweet. So if you follow me on Twitter, then you'll know more what's going on. But yeah, that's it. I think I also, I'm still doing my coding and stuff, and see you very, very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching today. Thank you very much, Jack. It must be quite hard, the whole situation in Hong Kong. I'm really sorry about that. But well, I'm glad to hear that you're doing you're back to doing some coding now. And
I'm not back. I have been like coding for like the Python clients like a week before, but I just like took a week of break to like do other stuff rather than coding. But now I'm kind of like, yeah, I really like need to code. I was just like, yeah, how to do that.
Cool. Yeah, I need to go back as well. Well, anyway, lovely to have you all. Lovely to see you, Chuck. And next week, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.